Okay. All right. How's it going? So in today's video, it's more practical in the sense where it's not going to have as many, edits here and there. We're just going to jump right into the main cocoa and the main reason why we're here today. One of the things that I always get asked is when I'm running ads, how do I know who to target with my ads? And I've seen businesses that actually provide targeting options as a service, that sort of thing. Now, if you are running a business, whatever it might be, whether it's a service or a product-based business, and you need other people to tell you how to target your customers, especially if it's things like, what we call the customer avatar, or brand persona, or your primary audience. If you don't know who that is, this video is for you. Now, even if you know who that is, there are certain ways that I do this that just makes the whole process easy for me. So today's video is very practical. I have a book or a notepad and a biro, okay? So if you're watching this on your mobile device, also go and get a notepad and a biro. If possible, let's do this together at the same time. What I will tell you is I would show you how to do it. And then after this video, probably take 20 to 30 minutes or as much as an hour to fill out every single thing I talk about. I don't want to waste your data, so I'm going to try and keep this quick and brief. What is quick and brief? I want to keep this quick. See? anyways. So what's a customer avatar? What's a brand persona? Some people call it customer profile. Some people call it primary audience, your ideal customer. It has all sorts of names. But pretty much that is the one person or the group of people that need what you're selling. It's either they need what you're selling as a product or a service, or that if you bring a particular product or service into the marketplace, these people will need it. So there are two ways to look at it. Sometimes you already have the product with you, or you already have the service, right? So you need to go and look for customers that need it. So you have demand, you have supply, you need to go and look for demand. Although most times we want to always do it the other way around, which means you want to go and look for demand and then fulfill that demand by supplying, right? I don't want to go too in depth, but basically that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is you want to start a business. You have that entrepreneurial itch. You said, okay, you know what? I don't know what I want to sell, or I don't know what I want to do as a service, but I know that I want to start a business. What you can then do is identify what the market needs using this same customer avatar exercise, and then kind of validating whether it's a profitable solution, whether you will make money from it. Basically, the PDP framework that I always talk about on this channel, and things like that. So that's what a customer avatar is. The ideal person, or the ideal profile, or the ideal persona, because it has multiple names, of the person that would always buy your product, right? Or there's a very high chance that what you're selling, they need it. Not they want it, they need it, right? We'll go in depth with it. But yeah, so we know what the customer avatar is, right? Good. Now, when it comes to customer avatars, it always starts with two separate parts, or two parts, two options, or no, not two, they're not options, you need it, but two separate parts or two key areas. Yes, let's call it two key areas. Sorry guys, I don't have a script, I don't have anything, so I'm literally just running off because I saw a comment, and somebody said that she sells press-on nails, or nail press-ons. I don't know how you ladies call it. And then she doesn't know how to set up her targeting. And as I was looking at the comments, I already knew what her targeting should be. And that's because obviously I've been doing this for such a long time. I've been doing this across different brands, different industries. So because it's like this for me, I feel it's a bit unfair. So let me explain the process basically. So you're going to take your notepad, you're going to take your pen. If you're watching on a laptop or you're watching on your TV, you can do this on your phone, right? Just open a notepad on your phone. And you're going to do, at the top, you're going to write your business, right? So you're going to type your business, write your business. Then, sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear me. So you're going to write your business. Then on the other side, demographics. Don't worry if you can't spell it. Me too. I used to struggle with spelling. See, I already messed up. Psychographics is the next one. Psychographics. And you want to write this on both sides. So we're going to create a table, right? So your business is in the middle. I hope this thing is showing properly. But yeah, your business is in the middle at the top. Then on one side you have demographics, and then on the other side you have psychographics. Okay, that's how you want to do it. Now, what is demographics, or what are demographics? Now, demographics is basically the characteristic of who your target customer is. So what is the identifier that once you see this person, demographics are mostly things that you can see or touch. Okay, always remember that demographics are things you can see or touch. So because you can see them, you can see that this person is most likely within an age of XYZ. This person is most likely a Black American, an African. This person is what else again now? This person comes from this particular country based on their passport, that sort of thing, right? And depending on what they speak, you also understand that, okay, this person is from this tribe or this state or this country, that sort of thing. They are mostly things you can see, touch, and dare I say even hear sometimes. So that's your demographics. So it's the characteristics and the identifiers for the group of people that you're targeting in your business. Psychographics are more of the things that you can't touch these things. There are things like interests, influences, opinions, ambition, aspiration. What kind of mindset do these people have? So these things, you can't see them. You can't see these things, but there are things that are key drivers, right? These things sometimes are actually more important than the demographics, but both of them are important, okay? So let's start with the demographics, and this is where you're going to write things down. So the first thing you're going to write down is age. So you have age, then you write down gender, then you write down what's it called again? Actually, you know what? Let me. I've done this exercise a few times, so I'm not even going to bother with this. But I'm going to show you what it looks like, okay? But I want you to write it down. Don't take a screenshot. Let me just tell you now, because I'm going to show it on the screen, but I don't want you to take a screenshot. So you have gender, you have age, you have the country. Now, within country, you break it down into like what's it called? Double areas or double portions or double sections. So within country, you then have tribe and state, or state and tribe, however it is you want to put it, right? Then you have monthly income, and then you have source of income. So you can write source of income first, or monthly income, or monthly income first, then source of income. Choice is yours. And then last but not least, you have education. So I want you to write those things out, okay? Write those things out on one side. Let me show you how it looks like for me. So gender, country, income, education. Okay. So this is what it looks like on this particular note, right? But obviously, I'll show you an example of what I have that you can also look at and do something similar. Okay. Now, when it comes to gender, you would find people that will say that, oh, but anybody and everybody can use my product. That's a lie. That's impossible. If your business can't be for everybody or anybody, right? It is impossible. Like even Christianity, dare I say, is not for everybody, although it's supposed to be. But it's the same thing with Islam. It's supposed to be for everybody, right? That's the idea, but it's not. There are a group of people that have this set of beliefs, mostly because of how they were brought up. But there's that, okay? So you can't say your business or your product is for everybody. Now let's go into gender. Your business is either for a man or a woman. In Nigeria, those are the only two genders we have. Okay. At some point, let's see, because I don't know what is. I can't see the future. But ideally, we only have two in Nigeria: man and woman. Now, and this I just want to talk about this a bit. There's a difference between your primary customer, which is your customer avatar, and your primary consumer. Let me talk about this a bit, because when you're picking gender, some of you can be a bit funny. So let's say you run a children's bookstore or you sell baby food. Some of you think that the consumer, which is the baby or the child, is the customer. No, they are not. Those are consumers. The customer is the person that is giving you money. That's the person ideally you want to market to or talk to, right? That kind of thing. So When you're picking gender, understand that. Another thing you need to understand is when you're picking gender, think of the household. So let's say you sell kitchen products, for example, and I'm not trying to shade men, right? Please, dear men that are watching this, don't get upset when I say this, but a man will not know the right pot to buy, right? Again, let me show my ignorance here. I don't know the right pot to buy for my household. Somebody else is going to do that, right? So that's not my place. When you're picking your product and your business, you know what you sell, things like that. This is why gender is very important. So whatever it is you're doing with your customer avatar, you can't sell to everybody. So that's gender. The next one is age. Now, when it comes to age, my sweet spot is 18 to 18 to 44. Most times, most of the businesses today sit within those spots. There are very few exclusive businesses that you can sell online, especially that can target to the older generation, 45 and above. I say this because that generation, they're not comfortable buying online. Even if they are buying online, they want to call you 50 million times. They want to make sure that you are a real person. They want to ask for payment on delivery. They want to let their housemaid call you and be sure that you are original. They want to make sure that their security guard also checks your profile to make sure you're... See, there's so many things I've gone through in this life. Yuck. Anyways, so that's your sweet spot, right? Depending on the platform you use or the platform that you promote your business. Your sweet spot is between 18 and 44. Now, similar to gender, you can't sell to everybody. There are certain people that would understand what you sell better than other people, okay? And I'll say this because somebody that is okay. So one of the project management tools that we used to use when I was up and coming, well, I want to say project management tools. One of the analysis tools that we used to use, and we used to use it for other things, was Excel, right? The younger generation that is coming up, they have other things that they use. Mostly, they just do analysis on ChatGPT. You can begin to create certain information in places like Canva. I didn't even know that. I was recently reviewing a presentation with somebody, and I recently found out that you can actually begin to do proper data analysis within Canva. Anyways, so that's pretty much how you want to look at your your age. Depending on what you sell, there's a particular group of people that need what you sell. Focus on those group of people. Now, how do you want to pick those people? Ideally, you want to pick two generations. What I mean by that is Gen Z, millennial, or millennial and boomers. You get me? Pick those two generations. Don't say you want to sell from Gen Z all the way to boomers. I don't know how much you're spending on your ads, but most likely you're going to be wasting a lot of money targeting such a large group of people. And your creatives, which is your design or your videos or your images, they cannot talk to three different generations the same way. Like Gen Z and Gen Alpha did not have this thing. There's 6, 7. There is I don't even know what all this lingo and there's one I just learned. Is this Siyabu or Sibayu? Huh? My age is showing. Anyways, I say all of this because you can't target these people in your marketing materials, or you can't target people when you're promoting. You can't talk to Gen Z, you can't talk to millennials, and then talk to boomers the same way. So that's why age is also very important. Now, for things like country, tribe, and state, that is also very, very important based on the communication. So let me explain. Let's say you run a food business, for example. There are certain foods that you can promote in the southern part of Nigeria. For example, pepper soup and rice. I don't understand that food, but they've given me before and I ate it. I didn't have a choice, but it's one of the things that I will never forget. But again, pepper soup and rice. People that live in those places understand it. If I go to a restaurant in Lagos and you're giving me pepper soup and rice, I would want to know the origin of that, right? So you need to know how to leverage this information. Now, if you're selling to people outside Nigeria or outside the country, you also need to understand what the culture is like in that particular place. What form of payment do they like? So, for example, now in the Western world, a lot of people use things like Klarna, ClearPay, things like that. In Nigeria, we do payment on delivery and upfront payment. We use Paystack. In the Western world, they use Stripe. You get what I mean? These are kind of things. There's Bumper in Nigeria and Africa. There is Shopify in the Western world, also in Nigeria, right? So these are the kind of things where you want to understand the country where your customers are, your target customers are, so that you can meet them where they are. If you're selling something to customers in what's it called now? In Nigeria, You're not going to list it on Amazon.com, which is selling to people in America. And then obviously vice versa. You get what I mean? The next one is source of income, and then monthly income or household income. Now, this is also very important because with monthly income, you kind of know how much you can set with your promo or your offers or even your product. If your product is too expensive, nobody's going to buy it. There was this thing I recently saw on social media where there's a car manufacturer called Exceed. I think it's one of these Chinese car manufacturers called Exceed. I don't know how much they're selling their cars, but that sort of thing, when they come into the market, they can't say they want to sell their cars at 200 million and they want to sell maybe 1 million pieces or 1 million units. Come on, at 200 million, there are other things that we can buy. You get what I mean? Obviously, that's an extreme example, but this is just an example of how you want to understand the monthly income or household income before you go and be setting prices that don't make any sense. And then you now say, oh, but why is nobody buying my product? Because it's too expensive. That's why. Okay. Another thing is when it comes to source of income, you want to understand so that you can almost put that in your copy. So this video is going to come out within the weekend, within the end of September, within that weekend. So if that's the case, ideally, when you're running ads or when you're targeting people in your emails and writing copy, you can begin to run a payday sale, things like that. If people that use your product, they don't pay salary, they don't get paid a salary. You shouldn't be. Well, what is a payday sale? It makes no sense to those kind of people. So these are the kind of reasons why you want to use this product. Last but not least is education. Now, education is also a bit questionable, and I say it's questionable because you shouldn't be saying that, oh, this one not good to school, so I'm not going to market to them, or they can't buy my product. You'll be shocked. There are a lot of billionaires that. I feel like Femi Otedola did not go to school. I think he dropped out in his book. But again, Nepo baby, all of that. I know some of you, that's what you're thinking in your head. So let me not talk about that. My book review is still coming. So I'll do that one another day. Right? But ideally, education is important because if you are, okay, let's say somebody is going to do masters. One of the services, you are working with a business, or you have a business, and that particular business offers masters or PhD services for people that are looking to relocate to Canada, to the UK, things like that. One thing I know as a criteria to do a PhD is you need to have either a BSc at least or a master's, right? I think there are certain people that can do PhD without a BSc, but they will have a certain number of business years of business or years in employment, that sort of thing. Again, I might be wrong, don't hold me to it, but that's where education is also very important. Education is also important because of how you want to communicate with people. I say this because there are certain people that you can't use pidgin to communicate with them. Okay, they think, and again, I'm not shading anybody. I'm just telling you what happens in the real world. But if you use pidgin in some of those in your communication materials, you water down your brand or you water down your products, things like that. Some people they expect pidgin. Right? They expect pidgin, they see it as a more relatable source of passing information, things like that. Okay. So when you're doing your customer avatar, these demographics are very, very, very important. Okay. So now let's move on to the psychographics. So similar to how you wrote your demographics, you do the same thing for your psychographics. Now with psychographics, you have interest. With interest, it's pretty much what are they interested in. So let's say for guys now, they love football. Fantastic. When you're running ads, or when you're looking for brands to partner with, or when you're looking for even things like gifts to give out during a giveaway. You get what I mean? You see how I'm beginning to tie all this together. Once you have this particular customer avatar for your own business, because every business's customer avatar ideally can be different. Once you have it for your business, a lot of things in your business become so easy, so easy. I'm jumping the gun a bit again because this is not scripted, but you have things like your social media. Creating social media content is easy. Having programs and giveaways and all of that is easy. Looking for influencers and content creators and UGC creators and partnerships to work with is easy. Products that you want to develop as you are building the business and as you are growing the business is easy. So I'm saying all this to say, like, don't Don't look at this exercise and think that, oh, it's something I'll just do once. No, this is something that I personally look at in my business at least once every probably 2 to 3 weeks. Now, when I first started and when I made my first customer avatar way back, way back, I literally printed it out and I looked at it in front of me every day because I was looking for how to identify who needed the products I was selling. I'll give you a very good problem that this would also help you solve. I know somebody in the MBA program, when he launched his store, he sold a lot of different products. Electrical, furniture, things like that. The person he was targeting, they use these things, don't get me wrong, but they use it at different times. So because they use it at different times, instead of it being one business, it should have been 3 different businesses or 3 different stores, that sort of thing, right? And the best way for you to identify these problems very quickly is for you to have a customer avatar. When I asked him if he had a customer avatar, he said, oh, it's one of the things that I'm still working on. And the two of us knew that was a lie. And I say this because this customer avatar exercise, I know I told you earlier that it might take you 20 to 30 minutes, but now that you are doing it, you can see that it's not going to take you 20 to 30 minutes. But yeah, let's continue. So the psychographic, the next one is hobbies, right? The reason why I keep looking here is because this is where I have my flip chart. So you have hobbies. So again, somebody that watches football, his hobby doesn't mean he plays football. Just so you know, his hobby could be gaming, playing FIFA or EAFC, that sort of thing. So this is how you tie these things together, right? Opinions. Now, when it comes to opinions, that's one thing we Nigerians have, a lot of opinions. And sometimes there are other things we can be doing with our time. But again, I digress. But when it comes to opinions, you also want to understand what your target customers' opinions are. And I say this because you don't want to talk about things that they are against. Now, as a business, you are allowed to have your own opinion. Don't get me wrong. But you need to understand that the people that you are serving, the people that are giving you their hard-earned money, if your opinions go against their own opinions, the question you need to ask, because I'm not going to answer it for you, is does your opinion really matter? Are you sure you don't want to shut up? Again, don't begin to feel a bit funny and get offended what I just said, but it is the truth. Your business is your source of income. Do not, again, if you're sensitive, you shouldn't even be running a business, but don't bring the information or the other side of you that is personal to your business and say that, oh, well, I don't want to patronize so and so. Don't do that. Don't do that. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain extreme angles that you don't want involved or associated with your business. That I agree with. But certain things like maybe, for lack of better word here, gutter politics, Ronaldo versus Messi, who is better, all those kind of funny things. Your opinion does not matter. Step back. Okay? Good. Now, key influences. Who are these? So with key influences, you want to look at sources of information and things like that. So when it comes to what exactly makes these people think of something or do something, I'll give you a very good example. When it comes to talking about AI, some people believe that AI is the destruction of the world, is going to take away jobs. Oh my God, AI is killing everybody. It's going to kill everything. AI is going to finish all the water in the world, things like that. There's another group of people that believe that, see, if you don't get on this boat, if you don't jump on this right now, you are going to be left behind. AI is an enabler. It's not necessarily something that's going to take over your world. The person that uses AI will be better than the person that doesn't use AI. That sort of thing, right? You have these two group of people. Obviously, if you've been watching a lot of my previous videos, you know which group I'm in. But when you're trying to sort of understand the key influences, where did they get this sort of information from? So I read a lot. OpenAI they just started the ChatGPT Academy. I'm in that academy. You know, these are places where, these are my key influences and this is where I get my information from. So if you are selling an AI automation service or you are selling a bundle or a package where, you know what, if you join this our program or if you join this service, you get a lot of these AI tools for free. Please call me, I'll join immediately. But yes, that's an example of why you want to understand key influences. Now, let's leave AI aside. Let's come to something that is more relatable. Let's look at Nollywood, okay? Now, within Nollywood, you have a lot of key influences in Nollywood, where you have certain actresses and actors that once they're in that movie, you know you're going to watch that movie. Now, if you are a brand or you're a business, there are ways where you can actually partner with that particular actor or actress without even paying them. Again, you work on an arrangement where they take a particular portion of sales, things like that. That doesn't mean they're a partner in your business. You just give them a portion of sales, which is revenue based, right? They don't, all of that. If you want me to talk about that on a different video, let me know in the comments. But yeah, pretty much this is how you want to understand the key influences and how they can help you grow your business. Okay. Next up, you then have ambition, aspiration, pain points, and passion points. Now, okay, let me use this channel for example. Now, a lot of us on this channel want to do one or two things. Either we're looking to start a business or we're looking to grow our business, right? That in itself is an ambition and an aspiration. You've met this chap that has come to show you how I've probably spent maybe just under 1.5, 1.6 now, and I've generated close to maybe 17 million this year from one particular business. We have other businesses that have also done their own numbers at very interesting ad rates. Okay, I want to learn more about this. So you have the ambition and aspiration to also do this, something similar at least in your own business. It's the same way whatever product you sell. Understand the ambitions and aspirations of the people that use that product or want that product or want that service. Okay? If you run a fashion brand or you run a fashion business, for example, somebody that is coming to patronize your business wants to look stylish, right? So that's one of the aspirations. They want to go out and let everybody know that yes, I'm the hottest cake, I'm the hottest thing in the block, that sort of thing. That's how you need to begin to think for your business, right? You use these key details and key informations to kind of position yourself, even with your branding, your marketing, things like that. Okay. Then pain point and passion point is pretty straightforward. Pain point is basically what is that problem that you know that these people, because they have that problem, they need it solved immediately. One of the very good examples that when I used to do my Google certifications used to do is they will use the example of a plumber. So you go into a house, a person's tap has broken. That person needs to use that. Let's say they need to take a bath. And they need to shower because they stink. They really stank up the whole place, right? That person needs that service. That person needs that tap fixed immediately. They need your service immediately. Imagine you are the plumber, right? You are allowed and you are able to charge a premium at that point in time because that person needs that particular problem solved quickly. So that's a pain point. There are other examples of pain points that I can give as well. Now, passion is more around where do they want to see themselves? What kind of things are in their bucket list? That sort of thing. And a very good example here would be somebody that is planning somebody that runs a tour agency or a travel agency. So one of the things that a lot of people do in the West is they offer tiered payments. And I think we started to do that as well in certain parts of Nigeria. So they offer tiered payments in the sense where you are going to travel in October, but if you put in a down payment now in February and then pay this amount every month, you're going to have a time of your life. You're going to have an amazing holiday, things like that. If you want to take your loved one or a special lady or a special guy to a place during your anniversary or whatever it might be, you can create a promo, you can create an offer, you can target those people with your ads, those sort of things, right? So this is how you want to understand somebody's passion point as well. I think we've spoken about this, but the last one. So this one I asterisked it here is religion. Now, when it comes to religion, you really want to understand it because, again, when you are doing your marketing materials and your marketing promotions, things like that, you have to ask yourself that question: where are you running a business where you want the religion that you personally follow or you personally believe in to be shown in that particular business? That's a question that you have to answer by yourself. But understand that once you do that, you're also kind of, in a way, almost targeting. Well, not almost, because sometimes not everybody thinks like that, but you're kind of focusing on that group of people, right, that also have the same religion as you, that sort of thing. Now, again, just because I'm trying to be transparent here and tell you guys when it comes to things like religion, I believe that we all should love each other. Okay? That's the thing I'm going to say about religion here. We should all love each other and understand that it is true love that truly, truly, truly will get to wherever it is we're going to. Take it like that. Last but not least, I have here is what do they watch and what do they listen to? Now, this is kind of very straightforward because when you understand what your target customers watch and what they listen to, you can easily begin to create content around those things. And that's how you easily create viral trends, tap into trends, tap into virality moments, things like that. Okay. Now, this is the psychographics part of it. When you do this exercise, again, like I said, it's going to take you a while. You're not going to do this in 10, 20 minutes. But when you do this exercise, I want you to understand that running your meta ads now becomes incredibly simple, incredibly easy, incredibly straightforward. Like, it's so easy. I say this because I was on a consulting call with someone recently, and when we were setting up his ads together, I could almost kind of pick his audience for him. Okay, yes, we did use Benji on the call. So we used Benji to kind of break things down. But when Benji gave me the options, I already knew what to look out for, because again, in a past life, I had managed this kind of brand, so it was easy for me to understand things like that, right? So it's the same thing. Once you do this, your customer avatar exercise, and you look at it every day. The reason I'm saying you want to look at it every day is because as you grow your business, you begin to understand that, oh, maybe this is not my target audience. Maybe these are not the people. Or maybe I should also add this, that sort of thing, right? That's pretty much it. When it comes to your branding, your creatives, your marketing, your sales, your content, like every single thing, you can use your, what's it called now? This customer avatar to get it sorted. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think at some point I will show you guys what I'll be looking at here, but I have it on my flip chart. This camera is static. I'll move it for you guys to see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because Q4 is here. I'm recording this September. Last week is September, right? Good. This is the time when some of you are going to be running ads for the first time. This is the time when some of you have been keeping money and saving money for this particular moment, so you can begin to test these meta ads that Damini and everybody on the internet is always talking about. Good. That's why this video is here. I don't want anybody to come and be asking me for targeting options. Please. Like, there are bigger fishes to fry. So this targeting options one, I know you got it. Now, in terms of what you want to understand next, and to make sure that your meta ads perform optimally, is that correct? Optimally, I think that's correct. Anyways, see, my English teacher will be flogging me because the guy tried for me. Oh, he really spent time teaching me English. As you can tell, my English is not bad, but sometimes. Anyways, I'm digressing. So yeah, in terms of what to watch next, I'll suggest you watch this video here. It's about how to set up your meta ads the right way, especially from a creatives standpoint. When I say creatives, I'm just talking about the video, the carousel, or the set of images, or the static image that you use for your ad. There are ways where you need to set them up to make sure they convert well. No matter what you do, until you get this one right, it's just going to be wasting money.